Hey there, Nation, and welcome to the show where we help you to play miniatures wargaming on a budget. It is I, Commander Cheapskate, and welcome to the episode of Weight of the Underhive. This series is dedicated to helping brand new players to Necromunda build their starting rosters and learn more about the game mechanics on their favorite gangs. And on today's episode, we'll discuss playing a new narrative gang called the Dome Runners Collective. It is a gang of explorers and dome runners who ply their trade in the Underhells of Hive Secundus. We will discuss the gang's inspiration, its narrative background, and provide two 1,000 credit starting rosters for your very first campaign of Necromunda. So where does the inspiration come from when it comes to this video? Well, as you guys know, I've been experimenting with making some narrative heavy lists recently, and actually one of my longtime viewers, Froggenstein, which is actually one of the viewers who actually recommended another video I made earlier, actually made the recommendation of building a Dome Runners Collective. The idea is supposed to be that it's actually a gang consisting of dome runners who pretty much travel light, move across the battlefields, and actually try to discover new markets and new territories in order to exploit for opportunities. Now, my buddy Froggenstein actually was another guy actually made a video earlier in my series, and basically he asked me to help him make a list using Warcry as well as Warhammer Underworlds miniatures in order to create a list for Necromunda, and I made a video about that using Tantalos brood from Warcry, as well as some Corn Knight warriors from Warhammer Underworlds. And so because that, he wanted to see if I can make up a list like this. So Froggenstein, if you're watching this video, buddy, this one is thanks to you, and thank you for giving me the idea to actually create this. My mind just kind of took off when you inspired me with this one. So let's go and talk about what exactly the Dome Runners Collective is. So, narratively speaking, the Dome Runners Collective is a gang of professional scouts, explorers, and salvagers who ply their trade in exploring dilapidated domes for hidden treasures. And what better place to actually apply these skills and apply this tradecraft than to use it in the Underhells of Hive Secundus? Everyone knows that Hive Secundus is rife with opportunity and wealth to be exploited by anybody who's brave enough to go down there, and why wouldn't Dome Runners go to that area to explore it for the wealth and the riches that can be found there? Now, the idea behind this gang, and from what Froggenstein wanted to see, he wanted to see a gang that was stressing a lot on movement, using a lot of movement to move across the battle very quickly, as well as very agile, so that way they can climb over obstacles and move that way. Speed is actually the name of the game for this gang, and it's all about crossing the battlefield, closing the distance, and actually making that happen. Now, the way I've made this list, I've actually made two different lists, and these lists are definitely a glass cannon build, in that both these lists actually hit extremely hard, so there's the cannon part of it, but they really struggle when it comes to taking counterattacks. So they're not very resilient, they're not heavily armored, so because that, they very much want to take the initiative, try to finish our enemies as quickly as possible, because if you take any fire back or take any kind of damage back, it's really going to sting. And that's the way that this gang is kind of developed. It's very much a high risk, high reward type of gang list, so that's exactly the kind of narrative background I made when I made this list. So let's talk about exactly how this game would play on the tabletop. So it relies upon speed and enveloping your enemies on multiple fronts. So instead of trying to hit your enemies head on, what you're going to try to do is try to surround your enemies, so that way they're being attacked on all sides. So even though you may be kind of squishy in terms of taking damage back, because you have your enemies surrounded, you can catch them in crossfires, catch them in flanking assaults, and hopefully you can kill your enemy that way. Now, because of this, in order to make that happen, we're using lots of infiltrators on these lists, so that way you have guys infiltrating on the battlefield, so that way you can kind of surround your enemy easier and then take them apart by completely surrounding them. So there's a lot of infiltrators in this gang. At the same time, you're also going to try to control battlefield conditions with blast template weapons. There's a lot of blast template weapons with this group, so while they might not have traditional heavy weapons like missile launchers or laser cannons or that kind of thing, they do have a lot of grenades and stuff, and with things with blast templates on them, so that way they can isolate the enemy, control the enemy group, suppress them as well. And like I said before, I've made actually two different lists. I made one list for Archeo-Hunters, so if you want to play this gang as an Archeo-Hunter gang, you can do that for your campaigns of Necromunda Hive Secundus, or you can play it as a Malstrain list. The two lists are very, very different, but they have different consistencies, but they have the same kind of concept behind them. So that being said, let's go and talk about exactly what you're taking onto the tabletop. So first of all, let's talk about this gang if it was an Archeo-Hunter Allegiance gang for your Underhells campaigns. Now, you're going to take the Outcast affiliation clan list. So you got the clan list delegation for your gang. That means that law-abiding or outlaw statuses don't really apply for you, and because they don't apply to you, you can hire both outlaw as well as law-abiding hired guns when you're able to in Hive Secundus. At the same time, your opponents gain no credits for selling any of your clan list outcast prisoners to the guilders, so them actually taking your guys hostage, not going to do them very much good. At the same time, there's a little bit of handicap in that you don't have no additional options for weapons or war gear. You pretty much have to use whatever you can find on the general trading posts at different rarity levels, so that's all you can have. At the same time, because you're clanless, you can't make any alliances. Now, with that being said, though, that's not a big loss, because in Hive Secundus you can't take allies in with you anyways, so it's not a real loss there. So for your leader of your gang is going to be a Dome Runner, the very same Dome Runner hanger on that you usually recruit for your gangs if you want to actually get a little bit more of a bonus when it comes to loot caskets. Now, it may not seem like the most optimal choice to take a Dome Runner, but like I said, this is a narrative-heavy list. These guys are all about being professional explorers, so that's exactly what we're going with. Now, this Dome Runner is going to cost you 60 credits. Now, this guy's going to be Outcast gang leader, and you're going to give this character the weird archetype so that they have access to psychic abilities. Now, you're going to give this guy flak armor, so because it's going to give you a 6-up armor save to remain lightly armored. You also give this guy a stub gun. He automatically comes with that, but you're going to give him dum-dum rounds as well, so that way he's got strength for shooting attacks, for short and medium range, as well as for close combat. This guy automatically comes with an axe as well, so the weapons are pretty much taken care of. Now, you're going to give this guy a grapnel launcher, so that way he can use a double action to move any distance in a straight line 12 inches. That way you can climb up buildings, rocket across the battlefield, whatever the case you want to do to move rapidly, that grapnel launcher is going to help you do that. Now, this character does come with the lie low skill, so that way that's for the cunning skill tree, so that way you can lay down and not worry about being shot at, which is kind of good. So you can actually use your grapnel launcher to get in a good position, take cover until the moment is ready for you to strike. They also have the Scout Ahead special rule attached to them as well, which means you get to re-roll when it comes to opening up loot caskets, so that's always helpful. And because this guy's going to be a weird archetype, you're going to use the Biomancy discipline. Now, the Biomancy discipline gives you two things. First of all, you get an ability called Fast Healing, which means you can take away flesh wounds, which can be really great for this character. And at the same time, you're giving this guy the psychic power, the Quickening, so that way he gets bonuses to movement as well as weapon as well as ballistic skill, because the Dome Runner is not actually all that great at close combat or at shooting, so the Quickening is really going to help you out with those handicaps for this character. After that, you're going to have two Outcast champions. Champion number 1's going to cost you 150 credits. This character's got the Mastermind archetype. They're packing mesh armor for a 5 armor save, as well as a long rifle with an infra sight, so that way you can snipe at targets from long distances, and it can see in all visibility conditions. They got a stub gun for a backup weapon, and they have the infiltrate skill, so that way they can also pop up anywhere on the battlefield as well. This guy has your infiltrator. My suggestion to you is to make him deploy behind your enemy or near your enemy's deployment zone, somewhere up high, so that they can see their targets, so that they can snipe at people using that powerful long rifle. Outcast champion number 2 is going to cost you 215 credits. This character's got the Survivor archetype. This fighter's also got mesh armor for 5 armor save, as well as a hand flamer for that beautiful strength 3 template weapon. He's also got incendiary charges, because 5-inch blast templates using incendiary and blaze is absolutely fantastic. He's also got the grapnel launcher, so that way he can rocket around the battlefield 12 inches. He can move up buildings vertically, whatever the case may be. And at the same time, he's also got Nerves of Steel, because this guy's going to be shot at quite a bit because of his incendiary charges, hand flamers. So giving him Nerves of Steel is going to help him kind of bounce back, so that way if you do get hit, you just pass a cool test and you don't have to worry about being pinned. From there, let's talk about your Outcast Hive Scums. Hive Scum number 1 is going to cost you 60 credits. It's got an auto gun, stub gun for a backup weapon, as well as a drop rig, so that way you can descend from high vantage points. Same thing with Outcast Scum number 2. He's also going to cost 60 credits. He's got a last gun this time, a stub gun as well as a drop rig. And then Outcast Hive Scum number 3 is going to cost you 95 credits. This character's got a stub gun with dum-dum rounds for that 4-up strength shooting attacks. He's also got a flail for that 4-up strength in close combat. And he's also packing blasting charges, because 5-inch blast templates, that strength 5 with 2 damage is the pwn, and those things are absolutely deadly. So your Outcast Hive Scum number 1 and 2, these guys are going to primarily be your suppressors in your game. These guys are going to be up in elevated positions, sniping at enemies with their auto gun as well as their last gun. If they have to just send the crowd down from the areas they're hanging out at, they can use their drop rigs to drop to the ground very quickly, so that way they can move ahead. My suggestion for these guys, of course, is as your campaign develops, get them more powerful ammo types, like maybe shock rounds for your auto gun and hotshot last packs for your last gun, for example. Get them things like photo goggles or infra sights if you're able to really help kind of level out the playing field. Now, Outcast Hive Scum number 3, of course, his whole job is to move up forward as quickly as possible. His main killing power is the blasting charges he's packing, so that way you can blow up fools that way and then finish off anybody who survives with close combat attacks. After that, you're going to have 2 more Outcast Hive Scum. Outcast Hive Scum number 4 is going to cost 85 credits. This guy's packing a last pistol and an auto pistol, as well as blasting charges. So this guy's got twin sidearms. And at the same time, Outcast Hive Scum number 5 is going to have a sawed-off shotgun as well as an axe, and he's going to cost 55 credits. And then lastly, you're going to have a brute in this gang, who's going to be an Outland Beastmaster, who's going to cost you 220 credits. This character automatically comes with mesh armor, as well as a sawed-off shotgun and a shock stave. He's got the infiltrate skill, as well as the beast trainer, and one with the beast special rules attached to him. And he's going to take Millisaurs. In fact, you're going to buy 2 Millisaurs for this guy, so that way you have 3 fighters that can infiltrate. Your Millisaur, your Beastmaster will be the guy who kind of uses the infiltrate special rule to kind of pop up behind your enemy's exposed flanks, so that way they can use their Millisaurs to start attacking people. Same thing with the snipers using infiltrate, can also shoot at people as well, so they're being attacked from multiple directions. The rest of your gang then moves up forward, lobbing blasting charges, also shooting, lobbing incendiary charges, and catching your enemies on fire. It's a very aggressive close quarters combat list. Now, my suggestion to you, of course, course, is for Outcast Hive Secundus before. Get him better ammunition like hotshot last packs for his last pistol, and maybe mind stopper rounds for his auto pistol. For the guy with the sawed-off shotgun, probably get him blasting charges when you get the chance, as well as maybe solid slugs for his sawed-off shotgun as well. So you just want to do general basic upgrades like that. And of course, get a third Millisword for your Outland Beastmaster, so that we have the maximum amount of creatures to help you fight in your battles. Now, because you are a Archeo-Hunter, you do get access to an Abyssal Ferryman team. This is going to have the Explorer Enclave for two reasons. One is because inevitably it fits exactly what a Dome Runner's gang actually does, going out there and exploring. And secondly, at the end of each cycle, you get D3 exploration points added to your gang's total, which you can then use to do things like get better territories, get additional credits, all kinds of buffs to help you out. Now, for your Ferryman Escort team, your Ferryman Skipper is going to have the, basically I like to call it the versatile stats. He's got a movement of 4, 4 weapon skill, 3 ballistic skill, 3 strength, and 4 toughness, 2 wounds, 3 initiative, 2 attacks, 7 leadership, 6 cool, 7 willpower, as well as 5 intelligence. This guy's going to have mesh armor for a 5-up armor save, as well as an armored undersuit, so that way his armor save is up to a 4-up. He's going to have a Kroot long rifle, so that way he can do long range shooting as well as close combat attacks, as well as photo goggles, so that way he can see in all visibility conditions. He's also going to pack a respirator to survive any gas or toxic attacks. He's got a grapnel launcher as well as a drop rig, so that way he can either ascend or descend as quickly as possible. And you're giving this guy the infiltrate skill, so that way he can pop up on an enemy exposed flank. I would pair this guy with your champion number 1, so that way they both can take turns popping fools using sniper fire. Your Ferryman rig hand is going to have what I like to call the squat stats. He's got 3-inch movement, 4+ weapon skill, 4+ ballistic skill, 4 strength and toughness, 2 wounds, 5 initiative, 2 attacks, 8 leadership, 5 cool, 6 willpower, as well as 7 intelligence. You're giving this guy flak armor because he automatically comes with that for a 6-up armor save. You're also going to give this guy a long rifle with an infra sight, so that way you can shoot at targets at long distances using any kind of visibility with your infra sight as well. He's also got a stub gun with dum-dum rounds as a backup weapon, and he also has the infiltrate skill as well. So we're going to mitigate the slowness he has at 3 inches, have this guy deployed somewhere usually on the flank or behind your enemies, so that way you can snipe at your enemies and have them surrounded, being shot at all sides, which is really great. And then lastly, your Ferryman Steerman's going to have a stub gun. He's also got the fast shot skill, and he's going to be driving a custom rig. He's going to have tracked locomotion for all terrain types, a crash cage, as well as escape hatches to protect your vehicle crew as well as your passengers, a small transport cage so that way your fighters can ride along with his vehicle. It's going to have a redundant drive system so that way it can protect its drive system, as well as tire claws for +1 handling. A nitro burner brings up to +1 movement, so that way it makes the vehicle back to its normal speed. And it's also going to have grenade launchers for fragging crack grenades, and using that fast shot ability, you'll be able to fire those twice in a battle round. You're going to definitely want those, so that way you can lob out frag grenades if you need to do suppression fire, or crack grenades if you're going against enemy vehicles or high value targets. Like I said, this gang has got a lot of firepower that revolves about you surrounding your enemies and also lobbing blast template weapons to control battlefield conditions. This gang hits like a freight train. Now, here's the second list, which is going to be a Malstrain Allegiance list. Now, the affiliation you can do for this one is a house affiliation. You're going to ally yourself with House Goliath. Now, the reason why we want that affiliation is for a couple things. First of all, you get additional weapons for options for weapons and war gear from the house lists. We're also going to be using gene smithing for your gang to make it a little bit more resilient, so that's another reason why we're taking the Goliath house list. And at the same time, you can only make alliances with the house's allies. So, for example, if you were able to take allies, for example, you can make alliances with the Slave Guild, for example. But alliances are not allowed in the Underhells, so it's really a moot point. So once again, your leader's going to be a Dome Runner. It's going to cost you 180 credits because we're upgrading the heck out of this guy. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to use Gene Smithing to increase this guy's ability. So he's got 5-inch movement, 5+ weapon skill, 5+ ballistic skill. He's got 3 strength and toughness, but he's going to have 2 wounds, a 3 initiative, 10 leadership, 8 cool, 6 willpower, as well as 6 intelligence. Now, he's going to be the leader of your gang, and you're giving this guy the Mastermind archetype, so that way you have access to the Cunning skill tree. At the same time, you're giving this guy Natborn, so you can spend 20 credits to give this guy the Natborn negation, and you're actually spending some credits to get 2 more Gene Smithing abilities, Tyrant's Own and Prime Specimen. What that'll do is it'll give you 3 points to actually change your characteristics on your fighter. We're using that so that way we can increase this fighter's cool, as well as increase this fighter's wound characteristic. At the same time, we're also using this to increase this fighter's intelligence characteristic as well, so make him a little bit more resilient and a little bit better of a fighter, and make him a little bit more deadly as well. At the same time, we're also giving this guy mesh armor for 5-up armor save. He's also going to pack a combat pistol. It's going to be a combination of stub gun with plasma pistols, so that we have a strong plasma weapon, as well as a stub gun for general purpose. He's going to be keeping his axe as normal, and we're giving this guy a shrapnel launcher, so that way he can move across the battlefield very quickly. We're also going to spend 35 credits to give this guy the Psyker upgrade because you're going to be a Malstrain Allegiance. And we're taking the Biomancy discipline on this one. So once again, you have fast healing as well as quickening. Quickening is going to make your character even faster and also help out with that horrible weapon skill and ballista skill. At the same time, he's also got the Infiltrate skill because he's got a Mastermind archetype, so that way you can actually deploy in. He automatically comes with the Lie Low skill as well as the Scout Ahead special rule. So this guy has a complete package in terms of running around, infiltrating in, and attacking people in close combat. You're going to really want to spam the quickening to increase his movement characteristic as well as a weapon skill and ballista skill, and you're going to be able to own your enemies very, very quickly. So once again, you have two Outcast Champion. Outcast Champion number 1 is going to cost you 160 credits. This character's got the Mastermind archetype with mesh armor, long rifle with infra sight, as well as a stun gun for a backup weapon. They also got the Infiltrate skill. But this guy's got the Vatborn designation to him. You're going to give him Dermal Hardening to increase his toughness to toughness 4, making it a little bit more survivable. Outcast Champion number 2 is going to be equipped exactly the same as the first list at 225 credits with a survival archetype as well as mesh armor for 5 armor save. He's got a hand flamer as well as incendiary charges for blaze goodness. He's also got the grapnel launcher to move across the battlefield quickly, as well as nerves of steel in case he gets pinned, and he's also going to be Vatborn as well, with Dermal Hardening giving you +1 to your toughness, making this guy toughness 4. Now, the great thing about being a Malstrain Elite is that you get 400 additional credits to purchase for fighters who are mounted, or for vehicles, or we're going to use it for crew fighters. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to use these credits to give us additional fighters, and how we're going to do this by using the Waster's Dirt Bike game mechanic in order to make this happen. Now, your first Outcast Hive Secundus is going to cost 65 credits. He's got an auto gun as well as a drop rig. He's also got the Vatborn designation with Dermal Hardening, giving him toughness 4. And your Outcast Hive Secundus number 2 is also going to cost 65 credits, but this guy's packing a last gun with a drop rig as well as the Vatborn delegation, giving him a 5-up +1 to his toughness, making him toughness 4 as well. Now, Outcast Hive Secundus number 3 is going to cost you 155 credits. This guy's got a stun gun with dum-dum rounds as well as a flail and blasting charges, and he's also got the Vatborn designation too, so that way he's got +1 to his toughness. And you're going to purchase this guy a Waster's Dirt Bike, and that's the reason why we can get additional fighters as well as equipment, because these guys will be considered mounted fighters, and so that's how we're going to get around getting some more fighters for our gang. Outcast Hive Secundus number 4 is going to cost you 145 credits. He's got a last pistol as well as an auto pistol, riding it with also blasting charges. He's also got the Vatborn upgrade with Dermal Hardening, giving him +1 to his toughness. He's also driving a Waster's Dirt Bike. Outcast Hive Secundus number 5 is going to cost you 115 credits. This guy's also got a sawn-off shotgun, a stub gun that he's going to get for free because that original stub gun came from the Dome Runner, so we give this guy instead. He's also buying an axe as well as a Vatborn with the Dermal Hardening upgrade, giving him +1 toughness, and he is also running a Waster's Dirt Bike as well. And then lastly, you have your Outland Beastmaster once again at 290 credits this time though. He's got mesh armor, sawn-off shotgun, and stock stave. He's got the Infiltrate as well as Beast Trainer special rules, one with the Beast special rule, and we're giving him 3 Millisaurs instead of just 1 Millisaur. So this list is actually very resilient. All these guys are basically toughness 4. You got a lot of Infiltrators in this gang, especially with your Millisaurs as well as your Outland Beastmaster, so that way you can catch your opponents in a pincer attack as well. We got some pretty decent shooting attacks as well as a lot of blast template weapons as well. Now, we don't have as much of a large vehicle because we used it for Waster's Dirt Bikes, but the nice thing about that is in case you're playing in a scenario that doesn't allow vehicles, that's okay. Your fighters can leave their Waster's Dirt Bikes back home and they can still fight on the tabletop, which is really going to be helpful for you. So as for campaign development, whichever list you choose, it doesn't matter, but you want to make sure that visibility is being addressed because there's a lot of visibility rules in Hive Secundus, so purchasing photo goggles and infrasights are obvious choices as well. Now, another choice that may not be as obvious would be flares. Now, this may sound weird, but this is actually found in the grenades category. For 20 credits, what you can end up doing is having flare grenades. Now, they don't cause any damage, but what they do, though, is they reveal everything within a 5-inch blast radius, so that way there's nothing hidden, and that way you can see it in the darkness. So if you don't have enough credits to buy photo goggles and infrasights, may I suggest equipping a couple of your fighters with flares, that way they can throw it, so that way they can see exactly where they're going, which is a great little game mechanic to use in the Underhells. And narrowly speaking, that would also fit too. It's kind of like that scene off of what's it called, Aliens 3, where they show the guy, if you guys ever watched that movie, it's about penal colonists trying to fight against a xenomorph, and they use flares in order to navigate through the darkness. It can very much match that aesthetic. So there you guys have it. Thank you, Frankenstein, for another excellent suggestion to a video. Once you mentioned this Dome Runners Collective, I got my basically my creative juices flowing, and I started getting really inspired to make this list. So I'm actually thinking about making another list later on that uses the Aranthean Secession. If I got time, I'll put that video to get that list together as well. And like I said before, this video is kind of a combination of both a narrative list, because we're not using the most optimal things, we're doing something very narrative, but we're using it for the setting of Hive Secundus, and oddly enough, it kind of works together. The idea of having a gang of of Dome Runners trying to check out what's in the Underhells of Hive Secundus just seems like narratively makes sense to me in that situation. Now, if you guys have any other ideas for some lists, please put it down in the recommendations and comment down below so that way I know about it. And if I like your idea, I'll let you know, and I'll actually make a video about it as well. So that's good with you guys. Stay tuned as always for all new kind of information. Please feel free to like, comment, and or subscribe. Your guys' input is valuable to us as always. Also check us out on Facebook, Instagram, as well as blogger.com for all the greatest and hobby news related to this channel. That's good for this week, guys. I will catch you guys next one. Peace out and stay classy.